West African Network for Peace Building, Building Relationships for Peace. Introduction. On the 24th of June 2023, the West African Network for Peace Building, wanep, and their partners, National Commission for Democracy, Interreligious Council of Sierra Leone, officially opened the election situation room at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Freetown. This preliminary declaration provides a summary of the observations of the electoral process and actions taken by eminent persons in the decision room from the pre to the post-election period. wanep and their partners deployed 350 monitors in 108 prioritized hotspots to gather data, utilizing structured checklists across the 16 districts in the 5 regions of the country. The election situation room. The ESR is part of a broader project titled Reactivating the National Elections Response and its Insider Mediators in Responding to Threats during the June 24th electioneering process in Sierra Leone, implemented by wanep. The project, which is supported by the UNDP, is also designed to mitigate election violence in West Africa through the national early warning systems. News. The goal of the ESR is to monitor, report, analyze, and facilitate responses to incidents which may threaten the peaceful conduct of the 24th of June 2023 multi-tier elections. It is made up of 4 operational sections, namely the data gathering analysis, the data gathering section, analysis, decision, and communication. The Central Coordinating Election Situation Room was located in Freetown at the Radisson Blu Hotel. In the Central Election Situation Room, 25 young people were engaged to collect the data using the ArcGIS Survey 123 tool for data collection. The data gathered were analyzed by 7 analysts, and the results were subsequently submitted to the 9 eminent persons for decision making. The Central ESR Decision Room hosted 9 eminent persons drawn from the Interreligious Council of Sierra Leone, the National Commission for Democracy, wanep, the 50-50 Group, Frabe College, and the Women's Network. They use their institutional capital and expertise to resolve identified threats and mitigate their impacts through high-level engagement and preventive diplomacy with relevant stakeholders. Summary of observations. Preparations for the elections. As part of its preparation for the June 24, 2023 multi-tier elections, the ECSL compiled a new voter register. The final register consisted of 3,374,258 Sierra Leoneans, comprising 1,759,529 females, which is 52%, and 1,606,016,729 males, which is 48%. So we have more females than males. Is that right? Mm-hmm. The ESL accredited 13 candidates, the ECSL accredited 13 candidates for the presidential elections, comprising 1 female and 12 males. The parliamentary election was conducted through the proportional representation system in line with the revised 2022 Public Elections Act. The elections were conducted in all 11,832 polling stations in 3,630 polling centers nationwide. Opening of polling stations. The June 24th polls were expected to open at 7 a.m. across the country. However, out of 1,917 disaggregated reports, voting process, closing of polls, post-elections and incidents received from our monitors, 356 reports on the opening of polls indicated that 56.18% of polling stations opened at 7 a.m., while 43.82% did not open at the mandated time. In spite of the delays, most of the laid out election procedures were adhered to by the ECSL officials, such as the display of empty ballot boxes in front of the voters and party agents, closure and sealing of ballot boxes, and validation of ballots by the ballot paper issuers. There was also a fair representation of females as ECSL officials, party agents, and security personnel at the polling stations, which is a reflection of the active involvement of women in the electoral process. Moreover, consideration was given to persons with disabilities, the elderly, and pregnant and lactating mothers to vote early instead of joining the long queues. Domestic observers, mainly from the National Election Watch, wanep, and Election Observation Network, were visible in most of the polling stations. International organizations such as the African Union, ECOWAS, Commonwealth, EU, and the Carter Center also observed the elections. We commend all Sierra Leoneans for their patriotism and patience in the post-voting activities. We also applaud the efforts of the ECSL, the political parties, the security services, civil society organizations, women and youth groups for their contribution towards the relatively peaceful multi-tier elections. We express appreciation to the international and domestic election observers for monitoring the electoral process. We encourage all stakeholders to utilize laid-down procedures to seek redress through established legal channels on any electoral grievances. Based on our observations of the electoral process, we offer the following recommendations to the various stakeholders for consideration. 1. We urge political parties to demonstrate leadership and tolerance in the acceptance of the outcome of the elections. We appeal to political parties to ensure that future elections are more focused on issues rather than personalities. 3. Political parties are urged to build national cohesion and refrain from political rhetorics that deepen divisiveness in the country. 4. We implore political parties to encourage their supporters to be law-abiding and all Sierra Leoneans to be peaceful. 5. The ECSL, political parties and other relevant governance institutions should ensure implementation of recommendations from the report of domestic and international election observation missions to improve electoral processes in the country. 6. Presidential debates in Sierra Leone should be encouraged and legislated as a means of engaging and enlightening the citizenry on the manifestos of political parties. This will enable citizens to make informed choices. 7. Political parties and their supporters are encouraged to desist from using abusive words in expressing their views. They must exercise patience while waiting for the ECSL to declare the results. 8. The security operatives should intensify timely and effective response mechanisms to address security concerns during the electoral process. 9. We encourage Sierra Leoneans to cultivate patriotism and embrace civic responsibility in the interest of national peace and security. The Election Situation Room will release a general report at the end of the electoral process. This has been compiled in Freetown on the 26th of June 2023 by the wanep Election Situation Room. I thank you.
Except for few incidents bordering on voting procedures at the initial stage. A total number of 47 incidents were recorded by our field monitors. 1. An incident at Logador Vocational Secondary School in the Western Area Urban District with polling center code number 16122, station number 04 in the east end of Freetown, led to a conflict between ECSL officials and voters about illegal voting materials, as well as conflict between representatives of the two leading political parties, APC and SLPP. 2. At the Baptist Secondary School in the Western Area Rural District with polling center code number 16149, polling station number 04, voters fought because of an attempt by one of them to use an expired voter identification card. 3. 2 incidents, one in the Western Area Urban District with polling center code number 16236, polling station number 08 at SOS International School, and another in Kano District with polling center code number 3217 and polling station number 07 at Pachima Hall were recorded. 2 former mayors, one from Kano and the other from Freetown, and a former member of parliament in Kano District were denied access to the polling stations by the voters, which led to tension. At the 555 spot in Koidu City, a similar incident occurred involving the former mayor of Koidu City and the former member of parliament. 4. Violence erupted in the Western Area Rural District with polling center number 15102 and polling station number 09 because of the late arrival of voting materials. 5. In the Western Urban District, at polling center code 16174 at St. Thomas Primary School, at polling station number 09, an SLPP supporter was accused of being in possession of a ballot paper in his bag, which he refused to leave with the polling staff. The fracas that ensued between the APC and the SLPP agents warranted the intervention of security officials. Arrests were made of many people, including the person accused to be in possession of the ballot paper. However, the matter was resolved subsequently and the person was allowed to vote. Another incident was of an assault which took place in the Western Rural District at polling center code 1511 at polling station number 01, FBC Students' Union building. It was reported that some unknown individuals entered the polling station and interrupted the counting process. Counting was stopped for about 20 minutes, and in the ensuing chaos, an observer from wanep sustained an injury. Eventually, security personnel arrived at the scene and put the situation under control. 6. Clashes between representatives of political parties. An incident took place at the Logador Vocational Secondary School, polling center code number 16122, polling station number 04. Several voters discovered that others had voted in their names, which led to chaos between the party agents of the two main political parties, APC and SLPP, at the polling station, and one person sustained an injury. Following the close of polls, counting and collation, the following incidents were recorded. Actions taken by the eminent person in the decision room. Eminent persons in the decision room were involved in high-level diplomacy in order to calm people and reduce tension. Lessons learned. Firstly, timely and effective communication by the ECSL is essential in all phases of the electoral process to dispel rumors and suspicions among political parties, their supporters and stakeholders. 2. To strengthen collaboration between wanep and the ECSL is necessary to enhance information dissemination at all levels, especially at the community level. 3. Highly trained officials of the ECSL, especially with requisite knowledge of the electoral procedures, is imperative for effective management of the voting process to enhance credibility and trust in the system. 4. Media professionalism is key in preventing misinformation among the general populace. 5. The presence of elections observers enhances credibility of the electoral process. Challenges and perspectives. Lack of effective communication between the ECSL and citizens. This led to suspicion and circulation of false information about some electoral procedures and results. The gap in communication between ECSL and political representatives led to the questioning of the credibility of the electoral process. Delay in the delivery of electoral materials in some polling stations affected commencement of the voting process.
We intend to continue our community engagement and also our response mechanism that is set up for this electioneering process, because we do not stop only after voting, but the post-election process is what is more critical as the context presents itself. So the NAG and the DAG in the district level will also engage communities. And as we also continue to do our preventive diplomacy, working in collaboration with other heads of missions like the ECOWAS and AU in this electioneering mission, will also continue to engage political leaders to ensure there is calm and there is total peace in the country. So it's a work in progress, and we continue to do our engagements even on radios and at community level as well. Then you're talking about how do we scale. Of course, since we started this situation, we told you that for the situation, the stations, the polling stations or centers which we covered, we will say there has been relative peace, and the scale of violence is not huge, I would say, but I'm not here to tell people that at national level I'm going to give a percentage, because we did not cover many polling stations, and for those polling stations we cover, we are to take responsibility to say they were relatively peaceful. And so far we look forward for calm, as we encourage political leaders to also talk with their supporters to stay calm until the final results are read, as was promised by Electoral Commission.